The Celtics just lost a key architect, and he might be taking more than just his clipboard to Utah Austin Ainge's quiet departure from Boston to join his father, Danny Ainge, in the Utah Jazz front office on Monday might seem like a minor front office shuffle at first glance, but dig deeper and you'll find the opening move in what could become a seismic shift in the NBA's offseason landscape. This isn't just a case of a family reunion. This is a chess move with potentially massive implications for the Celtics' immediate future. Because here's the brutal truth. Austin Ainge didn't just help build this Celtics roster. He knows its every screw, splinter, and crack. And now that knowledge is heading west to Salt Lake City, right into the hands of a front office quietly armed to the teeth with draft picks, cap flexibility, and a GM in Danny Ainge who's been itching for his next major heist. And the targets. According to Mass Live's Brian Robb, Utah has already kicked the tires on Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porziņģis. Not in some abstract way. No, they actively pursued both players via trade last offseason before Boston sealed the deals. With the Celtics now staring down the harsh financial reality of the second apron, and Jason Tatum reportedly suffering a ruptured Achilles, a potential death blow to Boston's short-term championship window, the urgency to shed salary is not theoretical, it's existential. If you're not alarmed, you should be. Holiday and Porziņģis, two cornerstones of Boston's two-way identity, are now back on the trade block. And the Jazz, armed with insider knowledge and a war chest of draft capital, are perfectly positioned to pounce. Danny Ainge has been stockpiling picks in Utah like a doomsday prepper hoarding canned food. Now, after swinging and missing on the Cooper Flag sweepstakes and watching his team flounder into the number 5 pick, despite bottoming out, Ainge might finally be ready to flip the switch and start building something real again. He doesn't just want to return to relevance. He wants to strike hard, strike fast. And who better to gut than the very franchise he once molded in his image? Make no mistake, the Celtics could be walking into a trap. While Boston fans have been laser-focused on Tatum, Brown, and the dream of Banner 18, the Ainge duo may be preparing to siphon off critical talent under the guise of a friendly trade partner. This is not about sentiment. This is about blood in the water. Utah isn't just a dark horse in this offseason. They might be the most dangerous player no one's talking about. And if Holiday or Porziņģis ends up in a Jazz jersey, it won't be because Utah got lucky. It'll be because Danny and Austin Ainge knew exactly which threads to pull to unravel Boston's carefully woven championship plans. Greg Swartz of Bleacher Report recently unveiled a list of dream trade targets for every NBA team, and somehow Mark Williams, yes, that Mark Williams, was listed as a potential fit for the Boston Celtics. On the surface, the idea of adding a young, athletic 7-footer with shot-blocking instincts and lob-finishing potential might sound intriguing, but dig deeper, and this idea quickly unravels into something far closer to a nightmare than a dream. Let's start with the obvious red flag that even the Lakers, yes, the perpetually desperate, star-chasing Lakers, waved just months ago. They did trade for Williams at the deadline. Then they reversed the deal. Why? Reported health concerns. In a league where front offices are willing to roll the dice on players with torn ligaments and Achilles rehabs, the fact that Los Angeles noped out of a trade post agreement should send shockwaves through any front office even remotely considering him. This isn't about one injury. This is about a pattern. Williams hasn't played more than 50 games in any of his 3 seasons. In the NBA, he has 77 games total to his name. For context, that's fewer than Sam Hauser has logged in the same span, and Hauser wasn't even supposed to be a rotation player. If availability is the best ability, Williams is tragically lacking in both. And let's not pretend Boston is in a place to absorb more fragility. This is a team already holding its breath over Kristaps Porziņģis's every landing, managing Jaylen Brown's knees with surgical precision, and silently dreading Jason Tatum's high-minute workload after a brutal playoff gauntlet. The Celtics need reliability, not another name to tape to the injury report. Financially and logistically, the fit is equally disastrous. To even make this trade feasible, Boston would have to cobble together assets that don't quite move the needle for Charlotte, unless the Hornets have suddenly developed a fascination with role players and back-end draft picks. The Celtics would either need to gut their depth or offer one of their core veterans, moves that make zero basketball or financial sense for either side. And here's the kicker. Williams isn't some transcendent unicorn like a healthy Porziņģis or a Brook Lopez-type stretch five. He's a traditional rim runner with defensive upside. Great in theory, but extremely replaceable in today's market. There are a dozen versions of him floating around the G League and European leagues who don't come with the medical baggage or the trade complications. So yes, the Celtics absolutely should explore the center market this offseason. Depth at that position is non-negotiable if they want to outlast the gauntlet of the East again. But Mark Williams? That's not a dream. That's a ticking time bomb disguised as a trade target. And Boston can't afford another gamble, not when they're this close to banner 18. The Boston Celtics are staring down the barrel of one of the most high-stakes off-seasons in modern NBA history. And the team we know today might not survive the summer. What's looming isn't just a luxury tax bill, it's a financial nuclear bomb. With projected total salary and penalties climbing north of $238 million, Boston is careening toward the dreaded second apron of the NBA's new CBA, a punitive financial ceiling that doesn't just squeeze owners' wallets, but chokes flexibility, limits trades, and slams shut future options. Suddenly, no one is untouchable, not even Finals MVP Jaylen Brown. Yes, the same Jaylen Brown, who just silenced critics with a playoff run for the ages. The same Brown who was handed a historic $304 million supermax less than a year ago. Now, he might be the price of survival. Trading Brown would be an earthquake, not a retooling move, but a tectonic shift that could reset the balance of power in the East. And teams are already circling, according to Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz. Two of them, the Hawks and the Sixers, are not just interested, they're preparing to pounce. For Atlanta, the pitch writes itself. Bring the Georgia native home, plug him into a desperate franchise looking to stay relevant, and form a potent trio with Trae Young and rising star Jalen Johnson. The move would electrify a fan base that's been asleep since the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals. More importantly, it gives the Hawks a player who knows how to win when it matters, something their current core hasn't proven. Philadelphia, meanwhile, would need to go nuclear. The Sixers' path likely involves Paul George, assuming he opts into free agency, or worse, a three-team circus deal that drags in other desperate franchises. But Daryl Morey has never shied from chaos. Pairing Brown with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey could give Philly the most fearsome two-way core in the league, instantly elevating them into title contention. Still, Brown's trade value is at its zenith. At 28, he's entering his prime. Just posted 22.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.2 steals per game, and silenced all can't-dribble left memes in one relentless postseason. He's not just a trade chip. He's the kind of piece franchises mortgage futures for. But here's the Celtics' dilemma. Can they afford to keep him, or can they afford to let him go? This isn't just about basketball. It's about navigating a new era of punitive cap mechanics, where dynasties aren't just beaten on the court, they're strangled in the spreadsheets. Boston has depth, talent, and culture. What they might not have is time. And when October arrives, we might not. Recognize the team walking out of that tunnel.